Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last session. Just thought I'd jump in right on the time, see who's in here. Yeah, as usual, I would love to hear from anybody in the comments. Who's around? Where are you from? What are you hoping to learn today? Anything at all, I would love to, hear from you. It's nice, to hear from people on the other side of the camera because I'm sitting in here just talking to a camera. So it's good to get some interaction. That's really what I'm hoping to get out of these sessions is interaction and make it about what you guys are interested in. So don't be afraid to chime in. Cool. Doug Gandal. Hello. Good to see you, Doug. Yeah, anyone else around? Doug, have you been here before? Your first time? It does take about 10 or 15 seconds for you to hear what I say. So do it, you can expect a bit of a delay there. Daniela, hi from Neukölln. Awesome. Great. Yeah, well, I'm delighted to be doing these sessions. Rah, awesome. Yeah, I'm delighted to be doing these sessions. It's been really fun. This is the last one now. I don't know if you heard that, but this is number 4. Last one. I don't know what. I'm almost definitely going to continue with something after this stage. So we'll see. Doug, you were here last week or the week before. Cool. Okay. Cool. Well, that's awesome that you've come back. Great to have people returning. That means you must get something out of it. Oh yeah, Neukölln in the house. Not surprised. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm delighted to be doing them and connecting with people, genuine, real people online. It's obviously we need to be trying, but yeah, it's just great to really connect with people. So. Yeah, my pleasure. If anyone wants to chime in and say anything in particular you're interested in or have questions about, because I can kind of steer the session in different directions. And if you want to get a question in now, I can kind of touch on that as I work through the mix. But yeah, it's just an idea. So we'll probably jump into the mix in about 5 minutes. I'll give a little more time for a few people to arrive, but we'll be jumping in shortly. I guess I'll start all the important things I need to say before we jump in. So first of all, my name is Jack Glacken. I'm a music producer and sound engineer. I work with artists and producers to get their music finished or produced so that it can be released, and work on strategy for release and getting things regular and creating a regular practice. That's what I'm most excited to be doing with artists these days. And then obviously I teach as well, and yeah, so that's me. My links are below in the description, so you can check all my stuff out. But I mostly work in lo-fi kind of indie rock, folk, and synthwave kind of stuff. And then that's as a producer. And then as a mix engineer, I have a little more freedom, which is awesome. I can work on all kinds of music. And in these sessions, I've done house music and breaks, jungle, and new wave kind of stuff, which has been great. And then the track today is this really kind of tribal feeling found sound composition by the artist Ili Os, also based in Berlin. And it went through an awesome transformation in the mix process. When I A/B that between what I was sent and what I produced as the mix, I really feel delighted with it. Let me see, what else do I want to say? I'm doing the sessions in conjunction with Open Music Lab. A lot of you probably are part of their audience already, and probably heard about the sessions through Open Music Lab. But I'll just say, Open Music Lab empowers people to make their own music. It's a space where anyone can learn how to create, record, and share, and a place for Berlin's diverse communities to connect and create together. And I couldn't have said it better myself. I found Open Music Lab when I came to Berlin and was looking for ways to connect, and I love what they're doing. I love that they're called Give Something Back to Berlin. That give is in the title. You know, if it just feels good to be given back. So yeah, that's it. And the session is based around track submissions from people in their audience. We asked for submissions. We took 4 tracks. We did 4 mixes. Today is the 4th one. And doing the teaching session is really a way to help everybody in the community and create a sense of community. Like, that's another reason why we wanted people talking in the comments, and it's really great to see you guys active in there. I heard from Ili about me. Okay. Curious about workflow, long-term researching Linux audio software and hardware, collecting ideas. Cool. Well, I don't know about Linux, but I would say today you might just get ideas of workflow, tools, tools that you can use to mix and make things sound cooler. And I think you'll get a lot out of it from that perspective. Principles of mixing, what to listen to, what to listen for. That's what we'll be doing today. And yeah, I guess that's everything I need to say before we get started. One more thing, if you're watching and you've come to a session before or you're enjoying it, it does help if you give me a like. The encouragement is actually really welcome. As I'm getting started doing YouTube videos, it would be very welcome. So if the spirit moves you, you can do that. But yeah, we will jump into the track now. I might just introduce Ili briefly as well, and then introduce the track. So I'll read his bio that he sent me, and I edited a little. Ili sails between the borders of dream and reality, genres and genders, city and nature, to reveal the secrets of the society's shadow and the unspoken messages of a child taming its demons. Thriving for rebellion, love and harmony through music with a social impact, Ilias Mavromatos is actively running 2 music projects, Ili and the Black Sails and Ili Os. So I think that describes Ili quite well from what I've heard. The song today is from his project as Ili Os. Let me see. Yeah, and it talks about, there's a lot of natural sounds in it as well as beats. So it's got this melding of synthetic and natural. That was part of the challenge of mixing it as well. But what I'll do now is I will play a good chunk of the song, the finished version, so we can all have a listen and tune in to what we're going to be working with today. So let's get started. First of all, I will share my Ableton screen. So let's see. I will just go to the top of the session and we'll get started. I will just read your comment perfectamente. Could you maybe share an OML software link? Not sure what you mean OML software link, but you can clarify, and maybe I'll do so after the session. Okay, let's get started here. Bada boom. Let me know how the volume is. Could it be louder? Could it be softer? Have to get into that trance state with this music. As you listen, try to think of the words you would describe the mix with, or the music. What words would you use to describe it? And what's your emotional reaction? Because making mixed decisions they're technical decisions, but they're also motivated by
of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is
Sorry, I got cut off by Carl Jung.
He is the great danger, and we are pitifully unaware of it. We know nothing of man, far too little. His psyche should be studied, because we are the origin of all coming evil.
So I was going to say the decisions I'm making are based on emotion. I'm trying to create the most powerful emotion for me, and I'm using my technical knowledge to make those decisions. Technical knowledge and experience to make those decisions. Daniela, I love those words you're sharing. Soft, peaceful, smooth, sparkly, magic. That's awesome. I'm feeling a lot of those things when I listen to the music. So what I'm going to start doing now is A-Bing between the original mix and my mix, and listen to the difference. And I think, yeah, just have a listen. So this is what I originally started with. This is before I mixed it. And on my mix again. And the original. And mine. Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. So just listening to the original, that's what I heard when I got this, you know. I'll just play it again. This is the original. And so I could hear all these tribal elements and natural sounds, and lots of different sound sources. Part of the music is found sounds and foley, just the sounds of metal on pavement, and sounds of water and sounds of birds. And my job as a mix engineer then is to try to marry all those sounds and create one finished piece of music with them. And there were a few keys. I'll try to touch on everything today, keeping an eye on the time. Reverb obviously was a big part of what I did, and getting enough reverb into the track can actually be tricky. You need a few tricks, and I will show you what I used, because it's really easy to overcrowd the mix with reverb. If you just slap on reverb without thinking too much, you just push everything back and make everything muddy, and that's not what I wanted. I needed to think of techniques to get the reverb in there without overcrowding things. I used delay as well, and then I also used quite a bit of compression, not a huge amount, but the compression creates this push and pull in the music. So just to briefly explain what compression is, let me have a look and go to a good instrument that will demonstrate it. I think it's a good idea just to go over exactly what compression is, even if you know what it is already. Just good to check that everybody is on the same page. So here's an example, which is the flute sound. I think it's a duduk, according to Ili. So here we are. What a compressor is it's an automatic volume control. You'll see the audio coming in here, and once it passes this threshold, which I choose, the compressor starts turning it down so that it doesn't get much louder than the threshold. So I've got it turning the music down at a ratio of 3 decibels to 1. So for every 3 decibels, it goes higher than the ratio. The compressor only allows it to go 1 decibel higher. So what this creates is a kind of density where the loud notes, they're a bit louder, not much louder. They're controlled, and it keeps everything more level. I haven't absolutely smashed it with compression. I've just controlled it without squeezing the life out of it, which is what can happen if you add too much. But this is a great example here. Do you see how this note is, it's going to get much louder. You know, the first part is loud and then the second part is louder. So you're going to see the compressor act, and then I'll play it after. I'll play it without compression as well. So check this out. We're turning it down quite a lot there. Yeah, maybe I'll play it a little further back so you can get a feel for that. You can see it's taking quite a long time to release as well. So after the music goes below the threshold, it takes actually a second for it to release. And that's where I've set it. I've set it to release slowly because that creates a very gentle sound. If I set a fast release, it can sound very in your face and aggressive. So check out that same section without the compression. Now it's going to be a bit louder as well. The way I have the compression set up, it's quite transparent. I'm trying to do it without it being obvious. But look how much louder this gets now. And I didn't want to go and automate the volume completely at every little stage. So I use this automatic volume control, which is a compressor. And then actually this instrument, since we're here already, it's a really good example of EQ as well. Ili sent me this track, this flute part. He sent it to me quite late. Actually, I just got it today. So I'd already done the rest of the mix and I needed to fit this guy in. And so you can see I made quite a drastic EQ move here. So let's listen to that before EQ. So just compressed now. And then with EQ. So this is a great example of EQ actually. There's a huge amount of energy in this flute part in this region. What is that? Around 6K. So listen to it without. I'm going to loop that. So I've got this headphones icon selected, which allows me to solo this region. So that's what I'm cutting out. Because it was getting too much in the way of everything else. I've already got this kalimba, which has lots of high frequency energy that I don't want to crowd it. I already had this lovely space for that part. I didn't want to muddy the water with more high frequency, so I let this be a deeper, darker, more background part. Okay, so the real reason I went into this part in particular here is just to explain EQ and compression, because it was the place where I made the most obvious use of those processes. But for now, I'm gonna go to the right back to the drums, because those are the key elements here, and I'm going to turn everything else off, and we're going to just kind of build up the mix from the top. So it's 6:25 now. We'll spend 15 minutes going through this. If anyone has comments, anything you notice, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you're noticing or what's unclear. So we'll start from the top. And I will turn off all the effects. Including the master bus. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know I do a lot of work on the master bus. So turning that off now. And I might have a bit of a volume drop there. Oh yes, I probably do. So I'll turn that on. Okay, let's see what have we got here with the drum part. Here we go. So this was the drum part, but in the rough mix that Ili sent me, there was already a delay there creating the rhythm, and I didn't want to use his delay because it had other things being sent to it as well. I got it as a raw audio track, and I wanted more control, so I just added my own delay. And I wanted a certain warmth to the sound, so I used this free plugin by PSP. PSP make amazing plugins, and this one so happens to be free with Computer Music Magazine. I would suggest you all buy one issue of Computer Music Magazine so you can get their free software, because there's such good stuff in it. But let's just see how this delay created the rhythm in this track. Actually, while we're at it, I'm going to turn off all my sound effects as well. So that's it with no reverb as well. And then add the delay. So obviously that was an important part of the mix. I'll just skip on because other elements come in and they all go through this delay. Okay. Now I wanted to shape it tonally as well. I wanted to bring out that top end because Ili had this kind of insect buzzing sound, crickets maybe. And I just wanted that to be a bit louder, so I brought that up there with the EQ. There it is emphasized, but just a subtle little move there. And then it looks like Ili has a question. He's Black Sail Sound. Can you share an example of Sound Computer Magazine to get free software that you just mentioned? Computer Music Magazine. I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the. I'll just write it here, and you can go and grab it. It's. You can buy it online, a digital copy for less than €10, and you get all these cool plugins with it. Actually, the next one that I'm going to add is another one from Computer Music Magazine, which I love. So this is a digital preamp. It's like a model of an analog preamp and adds a lot of warmth again. So it's like a tiny bit of saturation and distortion. Okay. And then I added this compression as well. Just have a listen to what it does. I'm using it very subtly. Just a small little whack on the peaks. But if you listen carefully and if you get used to listening to compression, you can recognize that there's a push and pull. Every time the drum hits, the volume is dipped, and then it slowly rises back, and that creates a kind of groove. I'm setting the release time based on the groove of the music, based on the tempo. Okay, so that was all important stuff. And I think like quite early on in this mix, I added the rest of the bus effects, the mix bus effects. So everything comes from the track and it goes to the master channel. And on the master channel, I have a bunch more effects. And I'm gonna just show you what I added there now. What is this guy? Oh yeah, that's a plugin that I don't have on this computer, so I just did without it. Let me see. So I'm gonna leave my limiter on. Actually, no, I'll turn it off so that I can demo turning that on as well. So first thing in the chain on my master bus is another of these guys. But you can see I have the gain pulled down quite a lot so that it's not hitting the saturation so hard. Then I also have its low boost enabled. So this is a bass boost and this is a treble boost. And this really set the tone for the mix. So have a listen. Without. Now, I'm not sure how good the quality on YouTube is, but the depth that you get out of this drum with this guy on is really gives me a good feeling, you know. And then my next step there was just to cut a very little bit of the low end, stop things getting out of control, and then have another compressor. So now you can really hear that in between those drum hits, the volume is being sucked up to the front. Without, with. So that's a compressed sound now. So from there, I'm gonna leave everything else off for the time being. That's how I'll start a mix, you know, maybe with these three effects on the master bus. Just doing subtle little things. I'm not going crazy, and I'm using my ears. And then the next thing, obviously thinking about this mix, was to turn on some reverb. So let's look at the reverb channel. So before my reverb, I have an EQ and I'm cutting out the low end. This is really important in making your music not muddy. I'm not cutting out all the low end, but this is like, I've got a kick drum going to it, like a very low drum going to it. So cut out quite a bit of low end, cut out all the sparkly high end as well. And then it's going to this lovely free, from computer music again, reverb called Reverberate CM. And it just has a really lovely sound. That's it soloed. And then I'm compressing the output of the reverb so that the reverb doesn't get so loud. So this way it creates more of just a level bed of reverb rather than spikes of reverb, which I don't want. And then let me see. I also have this very long reverb here. Let's check that out. So again, cutting out a lot of low end here. Let's just have a listen. So, okay, so I'm only sending a super tiny amount of reverb there. Okay, you can't even hear it. So I guess that was not a important move. I'll demonstrate that reverb later, but you can see here it's 11 seconds long. Okay, so that's that. And then let's move on to the foley sounds. So all of the sounds that were created by non-traditional instruments. We've got an axe, a dropped something, a seashell, birds, clay, which I think is dirt, sound of the earth being hit with something, and then water. And let's just turn them all on and have a listen. Actually, from this top is actually a great example. These are all of the found sounds. And actually, all I did really was a tiny bit of EQ. Nothing on this one. Nothing. Oh, actually, on this one, I did do some noise reduction because there was a lot of noise coming in on that. So let me just show you a picture of that, because it's not something you keep in the session. I do it outside of the Ableton session. And so that's what allowed me to have that nice and clean there. And I didn't do anything else to it after that. I didn't do much to any of these except this guy. I'd be interested to hear what I was doing here with this track. Okay, yeah. So we have this very sharp sound, and I wanted to tame it a little bit. Oh, is it? Can you guys hear me now? I might have to reload something here. I'm on hold while I wait for an answer here. Oh, cool. Thank you for yup. So you can hear me? Okay, I'm going to take that you can hear me now. Okay, cool. Got a scare there. All right, cool. So let's see. Yeah, just looking at this this particular sound. So it was quite a sharp sound, and I wanted to tame that, and I used compression just to shave off the attack. And without compression. Oh yeah, so Daniela, thank you as well. Okay. All right. So this is a great example of compression on a found sound. So without compression, listen to this. And then with. So what I'm using the compression to do is to absolutely smash the start of that sound so that I can bring everything else up. So using the compression, I can hear all the detail of that tail of that sound, and get that into the music. Without the compression, all the detail of that sound is lost. So I think this is a really good example of using compression with found sounds, because by boosting the lowest level of what we have, we can bring it into audibility and hear it over the music. Sound that would be lost otherwise. Without, and then with. Awesome. Okay. So that's a good example of that. And I guess I added a little bit of reverb there. A short reverb. Yep. So I'm going to move on past the found sounds. Let's go on to the kalimba, because that is one of the stars of the show. Okay, so playing from here. Okay, I'll skip on. Oh, something weird happening here. Have I something soloed? Oh yeah, I don't have the channel turned on. Let's try that again. Now, I was having some system resource problems earlier. Let me just... So I froze this track, and that's something that can help your system survive if you're doing too much. Because with this computer right now, I'm getting my mic signal, camera signal, Ableton signal, and trying to stream it all at the same time. So with the kalimba here, I can't turn the effects off, but you can see I've got a compressor and a delay. It's that computer music delay again. And so let's have a listen in solo here. I think this is one of the stars of the show, as I said, because we've got all this almost solely percussive sound, and then this is the first touch of harmony coming in, and it's also very percussive and incidental. Ili isn't trying to play a particular melody nearly. But it was important just to put that in the same space as everything else. So I'm using delay on the track, and then the sound is routed to this instrument bus. So you can see it more clearly over here. We've got the kalimba, and it goes over to here, and over here I'm sending to the main reverb. If I turn that main reverb off, well, I've still got other reverbs on, so that's helping, but it definitely helps to have this reverb on as well. So this is a good example of my ultra long reverb. The kalimba is playing very high parts, so they can just live. They can just play on. They can play over anything. And so I have quite a lot of it going to this very long reverb. Let's have a listen to that. Okay, I'll have to boost that so you can hear it. So that goes on for 11 seconds, very low in the mix. I'll turn it up a little more now. This is one of my favorite elements of the mix. And because this reverb gets fed through all the same bus effects, all the same compression, it gets pumped and pulled with the same volume control, automatic volume control that makes the music pump and breathe and creates that atmosphere. The compression also pulls up low level signal so that you can hear those low level signals. So this is one of the elements that creates a bed of sound underneath this track, and that was an important part of it. And then that the compression is there, pumping it and making it move, creates the groove as well. So let's just quickly hear that again. Okay. All right, let's move on to the bass now. The bass was a really cool part. And I did not do a lot. I cleared out some room for the kick drum. And then, well, one thing that was important was I have this filter delay where I have a delay of 3 beats on the left side and a delay of 5 beats on the right side. And that creates spaciousness and stereo width. And with all that getting pumped by that compression as well. So every time the kick drum hits, it gets pushed back and then it swells back into focus. It just is very involving and warm and enveloping. It just kind of creates a world around you. And for music like this, obviously, I think that was really an important move. So that was, let's solo that. And just without the delay, it's already lovely, but then now it sounds stereophonic. It just sounds like I'm surrounded by this bass energy, and I love that feeling. I'm also cutting lows out of these side delays. Always cutting mud is a good idea, especially on bass instruments. So I wanted it to be wide and spacious, but I don't want any mud ruining my low end. So that's that. Yeah. Any questions? Lash them into the comments. Only 12 minutes left. I may go on an extra 5. So if you want to stick around, because this is going a little bit slowly, but I've got not too much more actually. So we'll go on to the guitar sounds. So there were some cool guitar sounds. Let's have a look. So they come in over here. Oh, I need to turn them on. So Ili's got this fading in. I think there's a filter opening. If you look at the screen, I think he's doing this automatically. But then I just wanted to cut the very high end there and some reverb, bit of compression to bring up the low level stuff. Oh yeah. And he comes in with a kind of wah sound. And I kept this quite controlled. Just made sure it doesn't crowd the low end there. Because this area here is, you know, the bass is living there, and I don't want to get in its way. This part right now is a good example of compression again. So those two notes, they were really sticking out without the compression. And the compression helps control those. Okay, question from Ili. How would you describe the difference of glue compression and the other compressor you use? Why, when do you personally use each? That's a great question. And I would describe them, you know, I'm going to come back to that question. I'll just finish going through the instruments, and then we'll talk about the mix bus and why I chose the compression that I did. So that's the guitar or guitarlele, and then we've got the flute as well, and we've already talked about that, so we'll just move on. And then we had these voices. One quote from I believe Young.
We need more understanding of
And I just shaped it a little bit with EQ. Have a listen without the EQ.
We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists.
So you can hear I cut out all that rumble at the low end, and then I cut out some high end because I just wanted to push it back in the mix.
We need more understanding of human nature, because the only real danger that exists is man himself.
I wanted it to feel otherworldly, you know, this otherworldly knowledge coming through. So I didn't want so much clarity. So taking away this ultra high end is a way of pushing things back in the mix. And then obviously adding reverb is also a way of pushing things back. So then a similar approach over here on the second one. We don't need to get into that. So then we can move on to the mix bus. Now, before I talk about the glue compressor and one of my favorites, this free mjuc Junior compressor, I have the paid version, and it's amazing. But this guy is great as well. I would recommend you download it and run all your vocals through it, and run your bass through it. It'll all just sound better. It'll sound bigger and thicker. It's not always what you want, so I shouldn't say it'll always sound better, but there you go. So after this guy, I have this other free effect. All the effects I'm using are free, which is part of the ethos of doing these sessions, is that anyone can download these things and try. So check out the difference this thing is making. This one is made by Slate Digital. It's called Fresh Air. And I'll put it to one of the busier parts. So this is it off. I'm turning it on now. So just adding a huge amount of detail, really. And off. It's very similar in effect to an EQ, but actually it's adding distortion. It's adding distortion in the high end here. So I'll turn both of these down and then turn them each up. This is the mid presence. So I settled around here. And I think that really helps the music a lot. It brings out that detail that connects to the human ear, and that really helps it. And then what about this ultra high end? That's very sharp with that much in. Okay, so I'm happy around there. And then what's next? So in this EQ, I split it into mid-side mode. So I boosted the sides. It's boosting the stereo image. So listen to this. If I boost it a little bit more. That's all the side information. And then I cut a little bit of the mid information because it was getting too muddy. That's what I cut. That's what I was cutting out. Just tiny moves. Tiny subtle moves. And then a saturator, just to give it a little bit of an edge at the end. And then a limiter. So the limiter is going to boost the volume a lot. So I'm going to bring the volume down here. Okay, and that completes our chain. That's everything in now. And with the limiter on, with the compression on, we create a very even sound. Because compression and limiting, they're limiting the dynamic range. They're limiting the volume. The volume is not allowed to get loud and soft. It's controlled into a smaller range. And that's what you need a lot of the time to get your music heard. To get all the details of your music heard. Now, if you're mixing jazz or classical music, you really want a wide dynamic range. You don't want to squash things with compression. So it does depend on the genre you're working in. Okay, and now finally, to get to that question Ili had about this compressor versus the glue compressor, let's actually grab the glue compressor here and bring that in. And we can kind of A/B it a little bit. So I'll turn off my guy. So just to talk about this one, this is a modeled on a tube compressor, and tube gear tends to warm up your signal and thicken it and make it sound big and beefy and bold. And that's why I use this. It's very warm and thick sounding, and that's a quality that I wanted for this music. If I turn it off. So it's a very subtle thing, but I'm acting on the entire song, so I want subtle things here. But for me, it just loses power when I take it out. But let's compare that with the glue compressor here. So I would describe the glue compressor as clean and punchy. It's modeled on a different kind of compressor, a different kind of analog compressor that was used a lot for pop music. It's called the SSL-G compressor. Everyone knows that the glue compressor was modeled on that, but they're not allowed to actually say it because of licensing. So as I said, I'm going to stay for another 5 minutes. Hope you'll stick around as well. So let's just try and dial in a tone here. Ooh, I quite like that though. Yeah, that's very nice. I might make that release a bit longer there. So look at how the needle comes back to 0 by the time the next hit is coming around. then might play with the attack a little bit. Let's make it longer attack. Longer attack lets more of the transient through, lets it be more punchy. I like it there. Without. Less groove without it. I'm going to speed it back up. Let's have a listen. I like that better. So these are very subtle moves, and I don't know if you're hearing it. You know, it might be quite difficult to hear if you haven't played with compressors like this before. But I think it's a good rule of thumb to try compression with maybe 1 or 2 dB. Leave it on while you're mixing and then turn it off later and see if you notice a difference if you're new to using compression. And let's turn back on the mjuc again. Okay, just a softer quality to the music. This is just a bit more aggressive, a bit more clean and punchy sounding. Less groovy. Just has, mjuc just has a lovely softening effect, and that's why I'm using it here. But if you guys are producers at home making music, it might not be the best thing to spend your time on just learning bus compression until you're really honing your mixes. I think the EQ moves, like if you're just getting started, the EQ move here was maybe one of the best examples where I just wanted to change the quality of the sound. I wanted it to be not so upfront, not so aggressive. So that's what I did there. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up there now, guys. Amazing to have you. It's been a really cool run to do 4 of these sessions. Any final comments? Leave them in the comments. I would also really like to connect with anyone who's been a part of this thing. You can find my contact details below in the description of the session. Hit me up, make an appointment. I have an appointment form there. You can actually fill that in and make an appointment to talk to me for free, and we can go over anything you want. Or we can just have a chat about music, which is also one of my goals, just to talk to a lot of people about music and connect. But I want to say thanks to everyone who came and interacted. It's been really cool to talk to you all. Ili, thanks so much for the track. Enjoyed working on it. I'll be sending you a final mix now with the flute involved. And thanks to Open Music Lab for helping organize this thing. I always love working with them, and especially this project. We got really involved and hit it as a team, and it was really good. So I think that's about it. I'll let you guys have a moment if you want to put anything in the comments, but like and subscribe, that would be cool. I see probably most of you already liked the video, so thanks very much. Yeah, the emphasis on free software, because there's so much good stuff out there. Ili, you're welcome. Awesome. Okay, I think we're there. We're done. Gabby, thank you for all the wonderful mixing sessions. Thank you as well, Gabby. It's been great. Cool. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. that's the last of these 4 sessions, but not the last you'll hear from us. So thanks a lot. Peace out. Catch you soon.